We're ready, Meg.
We are ready. So you guys, I can't be as wild and obnoxious today as usual because I'm tethered. I have a microphone. I bought this microphone ages ago when I was doing some videos for another purpose. And I've decided because it is so stinking windy, like the palms are blowing. And we've had audio problems the last few weeks that I've been doing these outdoor lives. I've decided to use a microphone. So hopefully, I'm going to be delicately walking around here today. Hopefully, the audio sounds better for everyone. I'm going to call you guys up. Call you up on the Facebook page, Rythmia. It is sunny and hot and beautiful, and we're starting another week here at Rythmia. We have an awesome two guest speakers here this week. Parashakti, who has created our Dance of Liberation, the dance program that we do here at Rythmia on Friday afternoons, as well as Felicia Tomasco, I believe is her last name. Yes, I was right. My memory is not all that great these days, but I remembered it. They are here this week sharing the dance and some Ayurvedic teachings with the group at Rythmia, so we're excited about that. We just had Jerry was our guest speaker last week. He did his Truthonomics program, which was fun. And we're busy. We are busy. Wow! It's a good song I just wrote. But the audio sounds great. So Marianne is saying hello. Kenneth has joined us. As you're popping on, my friends, let me know where you're watching from. Always curious. Kenneth and I still need to get our world map so we can start pinning where everyone's watching from. I almost bought one the other day. I'm standing, if you're watching and we are live, I'm sorry this is boring that I'm just standing here. It keeps saying reconnecting?
It's working.
Oh, and it's working. Crickets. Everyone's just waiting. It's interesting that the internet wouldn't be working because we have a staff-only internet.
It may be for the wind, Meg.
Maybe from the wind. Maybe from the wind. Okay, let me go know where you guys are watching from. My daughter, Kobe, is here somewhere. She's in the office having a bottle. So she's here hanging out with me today. My baby is 6 months old, 1 week and 2 days. 6 months, 1 week and 2 days old. That's over a half a year, you guys. I don't even know how that happened. And I don't know why I'm counting so specifically, but I am. She'll be joining us at some point in this video so you guys can say hello. I've had people messaging me asking to see her, so she'll be joining us. All right, are you tired of hearing me flapping my yap? We got Marianne watching from KW. Is that Kitchener-Waterloo? It's the only KW I can think of. Kansas? Elaine is watching from Spain. Tamby saying hello. Marty says hello, my Canadian sister. Jacob is watching from Alaska. So cool. And Tammy's watching from Vancouver. So we're using a different phone today also. We're using my partner Levi's phone. So the video looks a little bit different. The bamboo, I don't know, does it look trippy to you guys? I have it called up on my computer right now and that bamboo is like all, oh yeah, it's trippy. Whoa, that's super weird. And my dress is trippy, but the audio is good. So
it's working.
We're happy with the audio. We're going to be complaining about the video. Pure Vita.
Perfect.
Kelly saying hello from St. Louis. Julie is watching from Hoboken, New Jersey, and Amy is watching from Arizona. Okay, so we're going to be doing chicken and waffles, and this is something fun that you can do at home for your family, fun for the kids. The waffles are going to be gluten-free, and we're using a different flour that you may have never heard of. So we're going to get right into it today. Is there anything else I want to talk about? Anything else going on? Don't think so. Then an amazing few weeks ahead. We've got Giovanni Bartholomew coming to do his Wim Hof method and breathing practices in a couple weeks. Who else is on the docket? Panesh Desai is coming. We've got Taita coming in March. It's going to be an awesome, awesome few months ahead. Okay, so we're going to make waffles. I got a bowl. I'm not even going to use a bowl. We're going to use a blender for this. So will you pass me the pitcher to the blender there, Kenneth? Perfect. So we're just going to throw all of the ingredients into this blender. This is how easy it's going to be. So it's not really a recipe to teach for you guys to learn much about technique, but it's mostly about the ingredients. So what are we using here today? We're using yucca flour. Yucca, and I'm just going to shimmy over here delicately because I'm on a tether. Kenneth is restraining me. I'm restrained. harina de yuca, which is cassava flour, which is, you know, I've talked about this on the live before. It's this tuber. It grows underneath the earth. It looks like it's got a waxy brown coating when you see it at the store.
It's like a root.
It's a root, yeah. And the plant grows up like big, beautiful green leaves. So this is very common here in Costa Rica. We use it for a lot of stuff. And I've done different recipes using yuca. We did fries recently. Like a few weeks ago, we made fries out of the yuca. But today we're using it in flour form. And so this is gluten-free. I use it in my gluten-free brownie recipe for my bakery that I used to own with my ex-husband. And it's a great flour because it's got a slight sweetness. Can you guys hear that? Probably not, because I have a microphone. Sounds like maintenance is moving heavy metal right next door, but you guys probably can't even hear it because of our fancy technology. Carrie says, yay, I can't wait to eat your food. Carrie, when are you coming? Johnny Gregg says hi from Northern Ireland. Aaron's watching from Alabama, USA. This is me guessing that AL stands for Alabama. Being a Canadian, I don't know all of these short forms, but I feel like that's a pretty good guess. Okay. So into the blender we go. I'm going to start with the powder of the powder. It is powder. It's powdered yuca. It's flour. About a cup and a half. I'll write the recipe down that I've tested. I got Kenneth to measure this all for me. I wrote it down for him this morning. Yuca flour. Salt, always. Got to have sea salt. Dun, 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 dun. A little bit of baking powder. I'm going to just spoon in about a tablespoon. This isn't science. It's waffles. It's not baking, so I'm not too concerned. A bit of baking powder. And I'm just putting it all in there because I'm going to blend it, so it doesn't really matter. 2 eggs, so this is not a vegan recipe. You could try subbing out a different, like chickpea aquafaba, which we're going to talk about in a bit, or flax, but it probably won't hold together as well because we're using the yuca flour, which is gluten-free and doesn't have that, the gummy gluten that regular flour does to help hold it together. So we're using eggs today, and I've got 2 of them here. Always crack your eggs into a bowl, not directly into your mixing vessel, because if I tracked my eggs directly in here and there was a bunch of shells, then that would be hell. It would be hell digging out all that shell in a pile of flour and stuff. So crack your eggs into a bowl so that it's a lot easier to get your shells out. I'm just saying. Pro tip, as they say. I'm not a pro. What else? Raquel saying, I love it. I need some yuca flour. Yeah, it's great. You can probably buy yuca flour in many different stores now. If I can buy it here at the grocery store in Costa Rica, where it's really hard to get a lot of stuff, you can probably find it at any health food store in North America. Or Ireland. Or Australia. Or Alaska, which is part of the States. Which I feel is funny that it's part of the States, being Canadian and having it that close. Anyway, 2 eggs. Almond milk. So this is going to be our milk. We're just using almond. You could use soy milk, coconut milk, whatever you want to do. We're using almond today, unsweetened. And some butter or ghee. And this is melted because it's just hanging out at Costa Rica temperature. And you want it melted because it will blend better. So I'm just putting this all into the blender. And then we're going to blend it. So Kenneth might want to unplug. No, don't unplug the microphone because then you guys are going to have to hear that horrible sound of the microphone being unplugged. So you're just going to have to deal with this. Turn down your volume. Turn down your volume. So my flour has stuck a little bit to the side, so I'm just going to scrape it down. Like, this is just lazy cooking, you guys. This is how I do everything. I'm lazy. Throw it in a blender. Just makes life easier. So you can see that egg and the flour has already got a good, nice little stick to it. Pachumba. Pachumba is the sound effect that I make for my baby all the time. I don't know what it means. Pachumba! She loves it. She loves it. Okay, here we go. So not only is blending it a lazy way to go about it, but it's also lending some light and airiness to the dough, which we want. So that's good enough for TV. So now I've got my waffle iron already warming right here. So I'm going to open that up. There's my waffle iron. And you can use any waffle iron that you have. This is one that I have that duals as a waffle iron and a plancha, or like a panini maker. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a grill. This is just a sunflower oil spray. Whoopsie daisy. I'm going to grab a spoon and I'm just going to Put a little bit. This is a little bit too doughy for my liking, but whatever. I'm not gonna panic about it. Just put enough on there. I don't want to be too generous, but I don't want to be too stingy. So this might end up exploding. I'm not really all that concerned about it. And then we just put our top on, and that's going to cook away. And we just wait till it stops steaming, and then it'll be ready. All right? Y'all with me? Easy peasy. Jose says he's going to be here in April. Raquel says, why do we call melted butter ghee? So I was actually referring to two different things. So melted butter is what it is. It's melted butter. Ghee is a clarified butter that's a different thing that I use interchangeably. But ghee, I've done a whole Facebook Live on it. If you want to go back in the archives, I showed you how to make it yourself. But it's essentially just taking butter and you cook it in such a way that you separate the fat from the milk solids, and then you strain off the milk solids, and all you're left is the milk fat, so it doesn't contain the lactose or the butter fat, the actual milk product in it. That's traditionally how what we use in Indian cuisine. It's typically ghee that they use over butter for a lot of the recipes. So that you can look back in the archives and learn about that. So I was just saying you could use butter or ghee. Both of them would work perfectly fine in this recipe. Coconut oil would also substitute well, but I like butter and I like ghee. All right. Elias says, hi Meg, have you lived in have you live here? Oh yeah, she's watching us live in Costa Rica is what she's saying. I'm making it more difficult. Have you live here in Costa Rica? She's watching it in Costa Rica. My phone's beeping. Pura vida. Okay, so this is cooking away. You don't want to open up this too soon. I don't know if you guys have been, I do it all the time. I open it up and then I split my waffles in half because it's not ready, so I'm not going to do that. So, for the next recipe, we're going to be making chicken tenders made of chickpeas. Chickpea chicken tenders. So this is a really fun recipe. It's dirt cheap, and kids will love it. And you can make these ahead of time and freeze them too, so you can make them in bulk. So the first thing we're going to want to do is take some oats. So I've got about a half a cup of oats here, and I want to make this into a flour. And to do that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to put them into my food processor. Whoops, not the bowl. Don't pulse the bowl. That would be a mess. And we're going to put this bad boy on. And we're just going to let this flour turn into a flour. I could have done this in the blender, and it would have happened a lot faster. But now my blender is full of waffle mix. So we just have to be patient. And I'm not looking for a super fine flour. You could use oat flour that you can buy. But it's just easier and cheaper to do it this way. I don't know about you, but I don't use oat flour for a whole lot of stuff. So if I buy it, then it ends up just getting stinky and old in the cupboard. So we're just making it. And that's going to be good enough for TV. So we just got it into like a coarse texture. And I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to pour it into a bowl for now. What do you guys think? Is this string annoying? Can you even see this string? I'm okay with it. It's not too bad, eh, Kenneth? And I'm sure that the audio is leaps and bounds better because we're using this microphone, right? You guys can hear me a lot better. Let me know what you think. Raquel saying, oh, wow, cool. I didn't know that. Thanks. Okay, Claudia Calaruso is watching. My mom is watching. Terry Mugsy, hi, Mom. Levi and Kobe are both here, Mom, somewhere. Oh, Levi's over there. He's over. He's lying by the pool, pretending he's a tourist. And Kobe is also here with me today, but she's currently having a bottle in my office with the lovely Ingrid, one of our restaurant team members. So, Mom, you will see Kobe live, like you don't see her on FaceTime anyways. But she's here at Rythmia. George Bell saying hi from Stony Creek, Ontario. And Tammy says the audio is fab. So I think that this microphone might have to be a new normal, guys. Which means, Kenneth, we have to learn to adjust to this. Okay, I can smell the waffles. Whoa! Look at that. Look at that. They're looking good. They're not ready yet. It didn't quite fluff out and flatten out as much as I would have wanted because the dough was so thick. I should have had less flour and more water in there, but that's going to be fine and dandy. Okay, so the next thing we would have done to do this, and I did this in prep already, is take some panko or breadcrumbs. So this is just your regular old panko, which is like typically used in Japanese tempuras. It's a type of breadcrumb, but it's more flaky and it's super, super crunchy. What we want to do is toast that. So I would put it in a 375 degree preheated oven and just toast it on a baking sheet till you get this color. So here's your difference. This is the raw. This is my toasted that I toasted this morning. Looks awesome, right? Almost looks like the breading that you would get on chicken fingers, and that's what we're going for. So I've already got my panko breadcrumbs toasted. I'm so tired. I don't know why I'm so tired. My brain's on overload. Going back to work full time, taking on some new responsibilities, having to learn a lot myself, balancing that out with being a mom, figuring this whole new world out has been really difficult for me mentally. I'm like, headaches every day. If I don't sleep for 10 hours, I don't function. Life is so hard. Life is not hard. Life is amazing. I'm just feeling like loopy these days. Okay, so we're making this of chickpeas, as I told you. So I would suggest the easiest thing to do is to buy your favorite canned chickpeas. Get yourself a 15-ounce can or 2 of the 9-ounce cans, doesn't matter, because you need to save some of the liquid from the can. You can always cook your own chickpeas and save some of the cooking liquid, but I find the texture and it works better to use it from the can. So I had 2 9-ounce cans of chickpeas. I drained them into a sieve, but I drained it or colander over a bowl to keep the liquid from the can, and then I saved a half a cup of it. So this is a half a cup of that chickpea juice. So it's just the juice from the can, and I'm going to put that in a bowl. And this is what's going to be binding our chickpea nuggets together instead of using egg, because I want this one to be vegan. So you see it's super runny, and I'm just going to take a whisk to it. Oh no! And you can see immediately when you start whisking this, it starts to bubble up. So it's just like, it works just like egg white. So this is what I referred to earlier in this video as agua fava. They call it chickpea agua fava. Essentially, it just is the liquid from the chickpea can creates a lot of the same, what's the word? It mimics egg whites. So you can use it, you can make meringues with it. You can look up online if you want to do that. You can make meringues with chickpea liquid. You can do a lot of the same stuff you do with egg whites. And look at that. So it's got this beautiful bubbly texture. So that's going to be one of our ingredients here. I'm going to check on these. Will you pass me one of those forks, Kenneth? Or just pass me the whole stack and I can get one out. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so these are done. So I'm just going to turn this down or off. Whoops. Burn my finger while I'm at it. So I've turned that off, so it's just going to sit there. I'm not going to let it cook much more. It smells good, eh, Kenneth? Mm-hmm. We could have put some herbs in there, right in the batter, which would have been really good, but we just kept it really, really simple. So you could use this in a sweet or savory capacity. Today we're going to use it in a savory, doing our chicken and waffles. So we've got our agua fava. We've got our panko toasted. So now we're going to make the base of our chickpea fritters, and that is chickpeas. So like a cup and a half is about what a 15-ounce jar of our can of chickpeas will yield. So I've got about a cup and a half of chickpeas in there. Rosemary says, is it usually so windy there? The mic picks up everything. I will get there one of these days. Yeah, the mic, if I didn't have this mic, all you would hear is the wind. It's super windy this time of between just after Christmas until like early March, right? Yeah, it's typically pretty windy. It's the winds of change though, so we welcome them here at Rythmia because we love that. We love change and growth and evolution, and the wind helps support that. Drives me a little bit crazy if you know anything about Ayurveda, which we're going to learn about today and this week with our guest speaker Felicia. You have your doshas, and vata is airy and lightness, and if your vata gets out of balance in your body, you can get irritable, and my vata tends to get quite irritable when it's windy like this. Maybe that's why I'm spazzing out and not feeling myself right now. All right, back to the recipe. Cup and a half chickpeas. I'm going to add in my agua fava. So that's that liquid. A bada boom, bada bing. I'm going to add in some sea salt for flavor. Always got to have the salt. Then I'm going to add in some garlic powder. I like lots because these are pretty basic. The chickpeas are pretty basic in flavor, so I'm adding in lots of garlic and onion powder. So that was what I just put in, garlic and onion powder. And then I'm going to put this on the food processor and give it a whirl. This is so easy, you guys. If I wasn't talking so much, this would happen in like no time flat. And then we're just going to pulse this together. I don't want to lose all the texture. Whoa! I don't want to lose all the chickpeas either. Oops, it's a pretty big food processor because it's for our restaurant production. So we would, if we were doing this for the restaurant, we'd be doing like this recipe 20 times over. So I got to go in there and give it a little scrape, give it a little bit more pulse, 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 pulse. A little bit more scrape, scrape, scrape. And I don't want this to be a hummus. I want to keep texture because it's supposed to mimic chicken, right? So now, you can see how runny it is. Do you want to have a look in there, Kenneth? And we're going to add our flour. So we made that oat flour earlier. So I'm going to add in like 1/4 cup of this. I'm just going to sprinkle it in. And this is going to be what's binding it. And you could use a different flour if you are really concerned about gluten or you just don't like oats. You could swap in any other flour that you want to try. Just oats are super cheap, and keeping recipes cheap when you're talking family, helpful. Super helpful. Levi, my partner, and I, we were on a budget in January. We had a lot of stuff that we had to pay for, so doing cheap meals like this has been super helpful. I'm standing right in front of the dirty towel hamper. See? Right in front of the hamper. So a guest just came and we just threw a dirty towel underneath the kitchen counter. Behind the scenes, this is what it's all about. I'm always in the way here, doing my thing. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. I want to have to be able to form this into patties, right? So I'm going to go a little bit more with this. Quiet food processor, much quieter than a lot of other ones. Okay, perfect. So this is good. See this? You can see it's a good texture, so it's starting to even form balls on its own. So then, it's going to wiggle my way over here. So then, all we need to do is, I'm going to put on some gloves to do this, so that I can keep my hands clean. Everything is so difficult when you're tethered. Everything is difficult, but audio is better. My Ann Donkers just joined. Nice to see you, Ann. Welcome. Kath Kennedy says, horses spaz out in the wind. Yes, they do. Rosemary says, yeah, I'm a pita vata, so she knows what I'm talking about. She's picking up what I'm putting down. Larry Culver says, hey, Meg, the boss is there this week. He'll eat well. Awesome. He will eat well. We will nourish his soul. So, I'm going to grab a bit of this chickpea, and it's the perfect texture because look at it, it's just coming together like a little bit of a dough. So this is smells delicious, garlicky and oniony. So you want to just form it into a loose, like what you would look like a nugget, a chicken nugget, right? Then drop it into your panko, give it a little bit of a coat. You want to pass me a plate, Kenneth? And I would put this onto a parchment-lined baking sheet. I'm just going to put it on a plate for now, and then we can deal with it later. Because what you can do is you can take it to this stage, and you can pile them onto a plate like this or a baking sheet, and then you can freeze them individually like this, and then once they're fully frozen, you can stack them in Ziploc bags or whatever food storage container you like to use for your freezer, and then they're ready to go. So it's just like a frozen chicken nugget that you would get from the grocery store. When you get home from work, you can just throw them in the oven to bake them, and you just have to bake them till crisp, because these are obviously not chicken, they're fully cooked already. You just have to get them a nice crispy coating in the oven, warm them through, and you want to have a nice chewy center a la chicken. So easy, right? Like so. Maybe I'm going to do a couple more here. Might as well. And then you can use these in any way you want. You can just serve them, with a salad or with, your favorite dipping sauce. Honey Dijon sauce would be really good. But we're going to go ahead and make a plate for Kenneth's lunch after this. Look at that. So this was, one version of this recipe was enough for, it would have, if I do it all properly, it would probably be 6 nuggets. So 2 people, 3 nuggets each. Not keeping in mind that would be a whole can of chickpeas. So that's a lot of gas-inducing plant-based protein. I love chickpeas and I use them in a lot of my recipes, but my body does not like chickpeas. They give me a lot of gas, especially if they're not fully cooked through. Because these ones were already cooked and then they're going to be recooked and they've been mashed up and pureed, then it probably wouldn't be a lot of a problem. So then, look, you can just put some plastic wrap over that, freeze it, and then bag them. Bag them, Dano. Okay, so that is the recipes. And then what? Then what else can we do with it? What we can do is take a clean plate. This is what I like to do. I'm going to take my... Oh my God, there's so much weight to these waffles. It's crazy. I'm going to take my waffles, put them on my plate here. 1, 2, 3, like so. I don't think you need all 4, right, Kenneth? And then pretend it's magic of television. I just went to the oven. A bada boom, bada bing. We have these ones that I baked earlier today, and look at this. Look at that. Looks like chicken. What? Looks like chicken. And it tastes like chicken. Trust me, and it's got the texture of chicken. It's so good. So, what am I going to do here is I'm going to first take a little bit of this. This is barbacoa sauce or barbecue sauce. Put a little bit of barbecue sauce on here. This is a little base for our chicken. And then I've got these chicken tenders. What? Can you see that? Yum, yum, yum. And then maple syrup or agave syrup. So you got that sweet and savory going on. What do you think, Kenneth?
Happy.
A little bit of sea salt. Maybe we do this. We put a bit more of this barbacoa on the side. Whoa, flying breadcrumbs. So good. And you can, again, make your own barbecue sauce or have your favorite. I always have one in the fridge. Got the barbecue sauce, like so. Then let it rain down with some fresh herbs. Today we've got cilantro on the docket. What do you think? Bellissimo. Chicken and waffles in a very different, delicious way. Kenneth's lunch ready. I've got a stack of these at home, so my dinner is ready. Boom. Chicken and waffles. Looks great, says Elias. Rosemary says, they look so great. Can you send them to me in rainy Los Angeles? Kate, I'm going to put not only the ingredients, I'm going to put the step-by-steps in the comments after this Facebook Live today. Since you guys are asking for it, I will do that. It is 2:29, perfect half hour, ending right on time. I want to let you know next week we're going to be talking about, I think I might change this. Right now I have it set up to be talking about the plant-based pantry. I don't know what that will be entailing. We might do that. I might change the topic between now and then. Who knows? Until then, try this. I'll put the recipe in the comments. I would love for you guys to give this a go. Send us pictures in the comments. Send us pictures on Instagram, on the Rythmia Facebook page. We would love to see it. And in the meantime, have yourself a beautiful week. I wish you well. If you want to have real chicken with your waffles, ain't no thing. Go ahead and do it with ranch dressing. That would be delicious. All right, guys. I love you so much. Mwah. I'll see you next week.
Ciao, Meg.